So how did the movie start? Anakin was fighting a bunch of dudes, and Nick Cage was there.
Yeah, they were in their Templar outfits, and they were all going around killing dudes. And Anakin was having second thoughts on killing people,
and Nick Cage wanted him to have second thoughts on killing people.
And then Anakin, I guess, killed some people.
And Nick Cage was disappointed. And it cuts to Eastern Asia, where there's like this king or whatever of the town, and his older son comes in, and the king like tells his kids to go away, and then the older son kills the king, and the doors open, and they're the only two in there. And then the older son's like, his 10-year-old son killed him. We need to find him. And no one thought better of it.
Yeah, there was. The guards are pretty blind as far as followers go. I mean, they were literally in there with the king as the son entered the room, and it was just they were just all like, "Oh, we better leave. The king wants us to go."
Eldest son sheaths his blood-stained knife. His dad's corpse. He's like, the little boy got him, and he got out of my hands.
My brother.
The 10-year-old boy escaped right out the window. Nobody saw him. I couldn't do anything. I was powerless.
Is this a dagger which I see before me?
And the kids like started making their way to a tavern or something.
Some local watering hole to hire some mercenaries or something, you know.
Yeah, and Anakin was just like sitting at the table just tripping balls. He was on opiates
for days.
And who walked in? The girl, the princess, just walks into like this ragtag bar. And they're like, "Hey, is that the princess?" And
you forgot a very important part. He tried paying for his meal with his sword.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. So he's like, "Hey, no money, no food," and he just hands the bartender his sword, and the guy's like, "Cool,"
and walks away. Like when you think someone says, "Hey, I'm gonna pay for this with my sword," you think they're gonna stab them or like make some sort of threat, but no, he just
gave up his weapon,
hands it over.
He had the munchies.
You got the munchies from the opiates? Okay, good for you.
And Princess walks in, and like all these dudes are like looking around, like shifting nervous glances, and then Anakin decides that he wants his sword back. And he's like, "Why did you give him the sword in the first place? Why?"
Yeah, all the guards that the brother had been talking to like fled into the tavern and just like, "Look what we found out in the woods."
Yeah,
and
the little boy
brother
who was hiding behind a tree, a huge tree, like surrounded by no one, just managed to get himself caught
next to the dead horse that mysteriously died.
Next to the sword with an arrow in its leg. There was nobody nearby.
You just said sword with an arrow in its leg.
The horse with an arrow in its leg. And then Anakin decides he wants his lightsaber back, and
kills everyone while he's high.
Yeah,
and he's like still just like blurry vision, just like can't even stand up straight, and he manages to take out like all of the guards.
So yeah, he comes up to the guards demanding his sword back, and they're like, "Oh, you're on opiates. Let's clean you up." And they push him on the floor, and a guard starts peeing on him, and it's like, "What?"
Like his like. It was already out and everything. Like the guard just walks over and just a stream of water comes out, and you're like, was he that ready? Like, did he have to go that bad? He just already had his pants unzipped and everything, and
he barely hit the floor, and then it's just like there's
boom. He was just going at it already. Like he was like, guys, can I pee now? Can I pee on him? Can I pee on him?
They eventually caught back up with the guards.
Yeah, they're at the village,
and the guards were pillaging this village. One guard was, kidnapping a girl, and the little prince was all like, "I'm gonna save her." So he got out the bow and just kind of shot an arrow, and it just kind of went somewhere, like not even in the direction, just kind of went somewhere. And then after he totally failed that shot, Anakin, whose name is actually Jacob.
Yeah.
was all like, back off, I got this. Grabs the bow, just kind of aims up in the air, and just let it loose. Didn't even like aim. He just shot up there, and then like
let that arrow loose, and 10 minutes later,
Robin Hood.
Yeah, like a minute of the guy weaving back and forth away from them, just going away, just hits him and just
nails him.
Falls off. It's just
right in the back.
The horse goes down.
The horse just
the horse took
out.
I think the horse was affected by that shot more than the dude. To be honest.
Yeah, the guy just goes to the ground.
Ate it real bad. It's just like, oh, I hope the horse is okay.
And then it cuts to the next scene. The horse is just like standing there in the water next to this like dead guy and this girl who's like splashing around in the water. And Anakin's like, I got this. He goes down after freaking no-scoping the guy from like 300 yards. And just goes down, picks up the girl, and she's like flipping out, and
they mentioned her that
sprinted over there in like 2 seconds, and she, and then he like picks her up and he's like, shh, it's okay, and like how do you get her to calm down? Like the princess is like, hey,
he's like the prince started hitting on her or something. I don't know.
The mid desert, there's kind of like this like kind of like Arabic style caravan and whatever. Like I don't know if there's a word for it, like with camels and stuff. And then the tavern was just full of Asian people. And they were eating with like chopsticks and everything, and then like Anakin just like starts freaking out. He can't even like pour himself like a cup of beer, like
moonshine. That's what it was.
Whatever, sake, straight. And then they're just like, all right, kids, go to your room, and the kids just go to their room, and then she like brings like a bunch of like
opiates,
like strippers and like whores in, and they're all like all over Anakin while he's just losing consciousness, and they like don't even do anything about it.
And then they spiked his drink and it was actually poisoned. Go figure. I mean, like...
He's like, what did you do to me? And then he fell over and woke up with his hands tied. And then, like, he was, like, in, like, a cart or something, like a carriage.
He's like,
and then he looked over, and then there's this guy standing there with a sword, and he just, like, swings and totally misses. Like, was he just waiting for him to wake up to hack his head off?
Yeah.
Like, and then he walks out and...
does a pretty sick sword trick in the hallway, like gypsy ladies at the end of the hallway. She's all like, wait, no, they're worth so much money. And he's just like, get out of my way. Throws the sword up in the air, catches it by the blade in his other hand, and just like socks her
decks
in the face,
her right in the nose.
Like,
he just drops her, and he's like, all right, kids, go out. I need to go and like fight a bunch of people for some reason instead of running with you guys. And so the kids go out and hop on a boat and go.
And they let all the other boats go.
Yeah, and they let all the other boats.
Magically, they all come back, and all the guards get on them and chase them
real
quick.
They let all the boats go, and the kids go on a little ferry ride down the river. And while Anakin turns back and just tries to fight 20 guys and gets himself, like, chest cut open.
Yeah, like, he was wrecking some dudes, and then, like...
He's like, I have to... He just turns around, he's like, I'm going to fight a bunch of guys for some reason. And then he just like he's just wrecking a bunch of guys, and then
one dude like casually walks up to him and is just like, tell me where they went, and he's just like, no, and the guy gets his sword and just kind of inserts it into Anakin's chest and starts just pulling down ever so slightly. Anakin got upset about this naturally and kind of went apeshiz on everyone.
Yeah.
Anakin's been through a lot at this point.
He's pretty messed up, and he just makes it to the shore, and then he collapses after some like a group of ninjas saves the kids. It was like some like Naruto stuff, and they were like throwing knives. They had ropes, and they were like hanging people
and shooting the people as they were hanging.
They're just double tapping the guards like while they were hanging, just sticking arrows in them for good measure.
Like it was Nicolas Cage and the Bad Boys. That's what I'm gonna name his ragtag group.
It was their band, Nicolas Cage and the Boys, and
and his tongueless wife. But we'll get there.
Yeah, and so Anakin just faints on the shore. And then for some reason, his good old pal Nicolas Cage from 12 years ago was in the exact same spot as him at the exact same time, and in some forest next to a desert,
by a river, and saves him with his squad of ninjas. And after he fixes up Anakin, Nicolas Cage decides that he's mad at Anakin because their messy past. They didn't explain it at this point. It's
because he thinks
Cage
that Anakin just killed like a bunch of ladies,
squinting his right eye for whatever reason. Just like
he's
real
just
bad.
like trying to be a pirate.
Whenever he'd blink his left eye, his right eye that is gone would blink as well. It was really
like a
bad.
slash, and he was like squinting his eye most of the time. He like kept opening it and slipping up. And
You want my blood? You want my blood?
And it cuts scenes again after that, and it's some guards climbing up the mountain, and one dude sitting there watching them. He's like, "Oh no, bad guys!" And he runs away. And he informs everyone back at camp that there are bad guys coming, and everyone at camp is just like, okay, better start making some swords, making some bombs.
And then it's nighttime.
Trapping this shiz, because
and the guards are just kind of like a couple like 100 feet below, just on the switchbacks. And then it cuts to nighttime, and they just like are making all these bombs and getting all these weapons ready for the guards to show up. So like apparently the guards just kind of like stopped just like 10 feet away from the camp. And then they had time to make all these bombs.
They set up some bombs and made some smoke, some
piles of hay, smoke. Some really cool traps.
And they shot a whole bunch of arrows. Only one of them died in an entire arrow fight.
I counted 4 in the arrow fight, and then as they retreat, then it goes up to 8. But
I didn't.
Yeah, so basically,
I was counting the deaths.
Basically, after like
8 of the good guys died, and about like 40 of the guards died.
And like Anakin is just an impeccably good shot because they have like these like masks like helmets, and he just gets arrows in like people's eyes, right in the eye sockets every time.
Oh, and then you get the prince who's like, he can't shoot an arrow this entire movie.
Yeah.
And then when it matters, he actually kills people.
Yeah, he'd been training.
But like an hour before, he shot an arrow like literally 5 feet. And that was the best he could do.
Oh, that was beautiful. That animation. The arrow just kind of.
It was only like half back and just.
But apparently, like the 50 bombs they made, they didn't like know to bring all of them to kill a whole army.
Left them all on the kitchen table.
Yeah, literally.
It's just like, oh no, we left the bombs back at base.
Yeah, we better head back to our base now because they aren't all dead.
That we have the advantage, we should retreat and give it back to them.
Yeah,
it's not a fair fight. Oh, no.
So they ran back to their little cave full of bombs.
Nicolas Cage's wife is there, like, tying some more bombs up. She's like, I'm just making bombs, guys. Don't worry about me.
And they're like, let's just wait here for the guards to show up for some reason, and let's throw these bombs while we're inside of a cave.
And he just went apeshiz, and
he was taking down guards on like this killing spree, just guard after guard, and they were just like. They had a whole army. A whole army was left even after they like nuked half the army, and then they just had the whole thing, and they were just going in one by one, and Nicolas Cage was just taking them out. And they were just spoon feeding him.
Yeah, and then at some point they did start landing hits on him. Like they'd start taking slashes at his back, and it did not affect him one bit.
Yeah. His clothes weren't torn until like the last slash, in which it had like 6 slashes through his shirt.
And then. There was they proceeded to impale him straight through with spears, like just 3 of them at one point, and he was still like
it was like
moving on, trying to fight. He like even reached for another dude's sword like out of his sheath. He's
it was
just
like that, like
give me your sword, and the dude's just like, no.
He was kind of actually like, no, yeah, right.
So after this fight scene, the prince. Anakin and the princess all come out of the cave. Not the peasant girl. The peasant girl was somewhere else. She's gone.
Yeah. The older brother of the prince, the kid there's going to take, and he was there, and I think he was the one that finally finished off Nick Cage. Like he kicked him over, and then did Anakin fight him?
Yeah, it was 1-on-1, 1v1.
Oh yeah, because he had 2 swords, and Anakin had 1, and Anakin was just getting wrecked.
Oh yeah,
he was having a bad time.
His long sword was no match for those dual swords. It was just like he's taking stabs and slashes left and right.
And then a couple of the guards just like thought they'd chime in and just shoot some arrows at Anakin.
And then the captain of the guard was like, "Hey,
he's like, guys,
hey, stop,
guys! This is supposed to be a 1v1.
Next person to draw a bow dies. I'm taking this personally." Agni Kai.
This really Agni Kai style. It was so dumb.
She takes the dagger.
Like while he's just fighting with Anakin, none of the guards do anything. The princess just walks up and just takes the knife out of the back of his. She's like, "Stop!" And she's just holding the knife right there. And her brother still got this like long sword in his hand, and she's just like, "No!" And he could have just like lopped off her arm right there, and she just could have like stuck it forward and hit him, and she just kind of like stumbles totally forward and the knife just kind of flies out of her hand, and she just like walks into his sword, and she's like, oh no, and then falls over. And then this is where Anakin just gets real mad
and like takes him down in one slash of the dagger. He's just like, now that I have this dagger and the motivation, you are going down.
Yeah, how did he kill the brother?
He just wrecks him with the dagger.
He cut his throat.
Did he just like?
As a throat cut?
Did he just get behind him and just?
No,
it was in his.
No, it was a frontal throat cut.
It was a fight.
Personal throat cut.
Oh. Why didn't the brother do anything about it?
He did, but he got totally wrecked by the dagger.
Anakin was too strong with that dagger.
So after he turned around, Anakin was just like bada bing, bada
The sword was too big. The dagger was just right. It's got to be. It's like even.
He was just like up and close, like inside the sword range. He was just.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then he died somehow.
Oh,
and then,
he goes down because of all he's lost a lot of blood. So he passes out, and him and the princess have a romantic handhold or something.
Yeah, like I was talking about the brother. The brother just like kind of. I can't even remember how he died. He just like got his throat shot, and then
young prince is now crowned king, and they're just like, yeah, the king.
But they're two different places. Anakin stayed with Nicolas Cage and to bury him, and
buried his body
princess
and his wife, and
went back with I guess her brother, who's now king. And all the generals, then they bowed down to him and they have a ceremony. But this whole thing was like over a seal, which I guess is like you stamp letters with it. And it talks a lot about it.
Is that what that was? They just needed the little.
It's the seal. That was like why he killed him. It's the royal seal. But
I thought it was just
they
like
have that ceremony, and
you
don't see that seal. Yeah, you don't see that seal anywhere else. Like the first quarter of the movie, it's all about the seal. The last part of the movie, where it actually matters, you don't see the seal, and
then it was like it's
not even
mentioned.
It's like he might not even have it. Who cares? Because they all worship him now.
The only romance.
What would you guys give it?
So are negative numbers allowed? I mean,
I'd say like 3.
Like, I don't know. Had good messages like double tap always.
All right, 4.
And
always
don't
double
do drugs.
But I think also it was do drugs because do drugs you kill people like epically, and you get all the girls, and you get all the prostitutes.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's do drugs.
Yeah,
in
do
this
drugs.
Case.
We'll go with don't and do. Don't and it's both.
Either
it's
or.
like it shows you both sides.
Yeah.
What's the other side?
The message is drugs, and always double tap, and sometimes horses turn invisible. So keep your eye out for those.
And search thoroughly. Don't give up right off the bat. Like, if those guys had spent a little more time looking, they probably would have actually just found the royal seal on the side of the road somewhere, because the prince did not have it after the first quarter of the movie.
And also, like always, your true love is out there somewhere, and then one day you might
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because you're not going to be together.
Yeah. Well, and then you'll like each other, and you'll kiss, and you'll be in love, and everything will turn out all right, and you'll both be alive, and then you'll just walk away for no reason.
I'd probably say maybe 3. I don't know. I don't do this. 3.
I'd give it a 2.
Yeah.
Because there is worse, but there certainly is a lot better.
Yeah.
I'll say 2 to 4. Yeah, 2 to 4.
I mean, I am here. ... now.
Okay,
that one's at least a 5.
Okay, 2 or 3.
At least 10 out of 10.
Yeah. That dialogue.
Not even a question. 10 out of 10.
Okay, so Nick Cage died, so 3 out of 10.